Let's begin.
I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and welcome to Day 4 of the 31 Days of Fright Horror Movie Project, Year 8. And today's movie is Victor Crowley, the fourth installment in the Hatchet franchise. Now, before I go any further, I would like you to please click subscribe and hit the bell to stay notified for any of my future videos, especially this month. I have a great list to see what I'm going to be watching all month long and what my thoughts are going to be on the movies I watch. And tomorrow I will have a random pick day where I will choose a random movie out of my Clerk's lunchbox, and because these are all movies I've not seen before, so I have no idea what I'll be watching. So that's kind of the content that you'll be expecting to see this month. So with all that out of the way, my initial thought when the final credit rolled upon the screen was I absolutely loved this movie. Does it match up with the previous three? Yeah, no, because there was a big time jump because this one takes place 10 years later after the events of the third one. But I still enjoyed it. I absolutely had a lot of blast with it. It's funnier than the previous three because the previous three are more tongue-in-cheek because of how all of these movies are done practical. There was a no CGI rule on set, so that kind of made the production a little bit harder because CGI is now king nowadays. But seeing old school horror effects in today's day is amazing. And these movies are chock full of like horror icons. You got Tony Todd, Robert Englund, you got Kane Hodder who's playing Victor Crowley. And yeah, Danielle Harrison, Caroline Williams, and Joel David Moore, and just tons of people who you will see from like other things. Like, oh, I know that guy, or I know her. You know, it's like these movies are chock full of that kind of stuff, and they're all well acted and they're all well done. Just the production value for all of these movies are just fantastic. To kind of sum these movies up plot wise is kind of difficult because there is kind of a long process to get to each one of these because the Hatchet trilogy, these three, takes place one right after another. So it's like after the events of the first one, it like picks up like a second right after the first one ended, and then so forth. And then the third one has a very definitive ending, but due to some like classic 80s style horror shenanigans, like, oh, we accidentally read from a book, or a bolt of lightning, that kind of stuff that brings the villain back to life. And that's where this one kind of picks up, and with one of the survivors from the third one. And you'll recognize people in that. You got Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but I think it's Vanessa something from Sleepaway Camp. And you'll just Dewey from Scary Movie. So it has everyone in these movies. So these are horror movies for horror fans by horror filmmakers, and they are just awesome. So like I mentioned before, the practical effects are all done. That's really what I can say most about these movies, is the practical effects and how good Kane Hodder is in this movie. He is probably the definitive Jason, in my opinion, because he can really act in that heavy makeup, and you can really see it in these movies. He's in full body makeup, and he's able to like do these amazing stunts and pull off such great kills while doing so. So just please watch these movies. These are all horror classics. That's my rating scale. 1 being run-of-the-mill horror. 2, best watch with a group. 3, it's more than average horror but adds nothing new to the horror genre. 4, helps move the horror genre forward. And 5 being a horror classic. And these are all horror classics because, like I said, nowadays CGI is king, and when you see some movies done with practical effects and done well, they're going to go to the top of the list in my book. So that's really all I gotta say about these movies. I know I didn't really go too much into the plot, but it's basically, like I said, Kane Hodder's character, Victor Crowley, he's he was killed in an accident by his father, and he just haunts this swamp. And just one by one, people kind of don't learn the lesson by staying away, and they go and they end up getting killed one by one. So that's really about it. And what you don't really go to the end of these movies for the plot. You're going for the kills, which I've already mentioned several times with the practical effects done in this movie. So that's really all I gotta say. Tomorrow I will be doing another random pick day. So if you would like to see what I'm going to be picking, please click subscribe and hit the bell notifications to stay notified. Once again, I am the one and only MSJ, Max for short, and goodbye.